From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and Akashvani, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. I'm Alison Mitchell in London.
Hello, Jim Maxwell here in Sydney. Summer's starting to warm up.
And I'm Sunil Gupta for Akashvani in the place where the World Cup is being held. That's India, and I'm in Delhi.
First up on Stumped, the match itself might have been a bit of an anticlimax, but thousands of fans, mostly Indians, flocked to Ahmedabad to see India play Pakistan in the Men's 50-over World Cup, the biggest rivalry in cricket. India won comfortably on their home turf. Sunil, you were actually commentating on the match. I mean, watching it on television and listening on radio, it sounded like an incredible atmosphere. I heard you describe it as a coliseum at one point. So how did you find the day itself and the whole occasion with that many fans in that stadium in Ahmedabad?
Well, I tell you, I mean, it was, almost as if the blue of the sky had descended down into the stadium. It was all blue, and it was actually grey up there because there was a bit, scrim of cloud. And literally it was as if the sky had come down. And it was absolutely enormous. It was like a big spaceship, And down there was that patch of green where the match was going to be played. The noise levels were absolutely incredible. And you had to sort of really yell to make yourself heard, especially if you're down there somewhere. It was really... I met people in the plane coming from England, from Oxford, sitting next to me in the plane coming in. They came in only for this match, people of Indian origin. And let me tell you, hotel rooms and flights were so overbooked that prices had gone up 5 to 10 times. So what some people did was that they booked hospital packages, you had those pick-up packages just to be able to stay in Ahmedabad. It is that big. The match, of course, I mean, it was, as you said, a bit of an anticlimax because nobody really expected that. At one stage, I mean, both teams were neck to neck. Pakistan 155 for 2, India 156 for 2. Of course, India had done it a little quicker. But after that, I mean, the whole thing went completely awry for Pakistan. And I'm still, cannot believe what happened, even though India bowled really well. And the biggest thing over there was the noise. In fact, before the game, there was a song and dance show, which they actually hadn't had before the inauguration, the first game that was played there. So you can understand how big it was, not just in terms of the India-Pakistan rivalry, but also because that seemed to be really kicking off the World Cup. And of course, what happened after that really shows what a World Cup is all about. But it was tremendous. It was an experience I will never forget. And I'm going back there again to do the, England-Australia game.
Another rivalry.
So I will give you my views. Yeah, another rivalry. I don't think we're going to have that number of people there because getting out of the stadium, it took us 2 hours to leave that stadium at night.
Not surprised.
So, but it was a great stadium. I thought the venue was terrific. I thought the cricket could have been better. And of course, I mean, there should have been a few more, fans over there from, other countries. It was just blue. But who can forget an India-Pakistan game? And I was so glad that I was there.
What of then, Jim, the cricket itself? Because India romped that, and yes, a lot's been said about the fact there were so few Pakistan fans in the crowd. Sunil managed to find some that obviously come from the States. But India, they do seem to be the team to beat at the moment.
They're a juggernaut, no doubt about it. With Bumrah back in the side, he's added a lot of quality to their attack. And Siraj is in good form. I mean, they're playing very confidently. If someone doesn't get a score in the first 4 or 5, someone else will. Kohli, Sharma, you name it, Shreyas. Yeah. At the moment, things are going well. But as we all know, in these tournaments, when you get to the semi-final, things can happen. So that's where we'll start to examine it a little bit more closely. But at the moment, they're romping towards a serious win as they got in 2011. Who can stop them? Well, we don't really know yet, but someone will.
Yeah,
potentially.
Maybe there is going to be another upset because there's been a few already, hasn't there? Just on that sense of the overwhelmingly Indian crowd for that India-Pakistan match, the Pakistan Cricket Board has actually lodged a formal protest with the ICC over delays in visas for Pakistani journalists and the absence of a visa policy for Pakistan fans. So that would explain a lot about the absence of green in the crowd for India-Pakistan match, because undoubtedly the clamour would be there for Pakistan fans to attend. The PCB's also filed a complaint regarding inappropriate conduct targeted at the Pakistan squad during that match. There's no further detail from them specifically, but the ICC and BCCI have yet to respond as we're speaking now. There were some videos circulating on social media after the match of fans chanting at Pakistan players. But let's talk about these upsets that we've seen this week, because, I mean, goodness, wait for a World Cup shock in this tournament, and then two come along in 3 days, because first it was the defending champions England, beaten by Afghanistan by 69 runs, not even close encounter. A huge credit to Afghanistan for the level of their performance. And then South Africa, who had been playing outstanding cricket up to the point when they were beaten by the Netherlands by 38 runs. The Netherlands, an associate nation who aren't even all full-time professionals. As a nation, they don't enjoy the same level of ICC funding as full member countries do. In fact, we had one of their players on, if you remember, on Stump soon after they'd qualified for the World Cup, Tej Nedumunuru, and he told us how he juggles a 40-hour-per-week job alongside being an international cricketer. And I think they only had one full-time member of coaching staff at that point as well. So, yeah, huge for the Netherlands, their first win over a test-playing nation in a 50-over World Cup, and just their third win of all time in the competition. But Sunil, if we're honest, I mean, the tournament needed a little bit of a shake-up, didn't it? It was starting to get a little predictable.
I personally felt, when I saw, especially England, I thought that they took Afghanistan a little too lightly. I think that was one of the problems. And in fact, in the day before, in the newspapers, there was an article by Srikanth who'd said, literally dismissed that game, said, oh, it's a foregone conclusion, and went on to talk about other games. So I tweeted him after that. I sent him a message on X saying, hello, is that a foregone conclusion? Don't do these things. You're a cricketer. You should know there is nothing called foregone conclusions.
Next on Stumped, how an international wicketkeeper went from checking into rehab for alcohol abuse to lifting a runners-up medal at the Women's T20 World Cup. That's what happened to South Africa's Senalo Jafta. She considered walking away from cricket at the age of just 27, but began addiction treatment just 4 months before the T20 World Cup. When she was discharged from rehab in December 2022, she was ready for a new start. Early this week, I caught up with her and asked when it was she realised that she had a drinking problem. And as a warning, our interview contains references to alcohol abuse and mental health issues.
I think for me, the online abuse was just like a straw, like the final straw. But I think it started way back when I think I was first year in university. I think that's actually when the drinking started, like, hockey fines, because I played hockey. And I thought it was just having fun. And then you just literally fast forward a few years and it was literally just for me to cope. I was drinking whether I was upset, whether I was happy, it just became, and I remember in my 1 year share a week ago, I was like, drinking just became, it wasn't fun anymore. It just felt as a necessity. Like literally every emotion I felt, I was like, cool, let me just drink on it.
So I've played hockey at university as well. I sort of know that social environment, it can be a bit peer pressured environment as well at times. But at what point did you realise that it was a problem for you?
If we literally backtrack it to 2 years ago, just straight out of COVID, I think that's when I realized for myself personally, before anyone else could tell me, I was like, this is becoming a daily thing. Whereas before it used to be a weekend thing. And I just remember just before the team flew out to Ireland last year, the team doctor came to me and was like, Jeff, I think you have a problem. And I was like, but doc, what are you talking about? This is just fun. It's like the typical life of an athlete. When you're not playing, it's my downtime. But my downtime kind of like prolonged even longer. And I had teammates coming to me saying, Jeff, if you don't stop, you're going to mess up your career. But I think I was too far gone to even care. Like for me, it was like I needed to have that drink for me to cope with whatever challenges I'd face. And, this New Zealand series we just had, I celebrated my year in sobriety. So it was pretty cool to actually be surrounded with the same people that kind of like shed light to my alcoholism. Because for me, it was like, what are you talking about? I'm just having fun. And yeah, so if I literally just backtrack, I think it was like a long process. It just, at that time, it was when I just couldn't.
Could you tell that it was affecting your cricket specifically, or is that where your teammates came in to tell you that it was having an adverse effect?
You know, we call it a disease. It's such a funny thing. If I look back now, the signs were always there. But for me, it was like, what are you talking about? I'm benching, not because I'm benching because you don't like me. It was always like a finger pointing to that specific person. And I ended up resenting a few of like the coaching staffs, even the players, like you in the way of me actually playing a game. So I ended up resenting my teammates where it had nothing to do with them. And I failed to see that actually. And in October, I actually had an intervention with the management. I had a meeting. They're like, Jeff, what's going on? I was like, guys, it feels like I'm in a hole and I just can't get out. And I think that was for me that point where I was like, okay, cool. I know that now I actually have a problem. And even I was very reluctant to go to treatment. I thought I was going to go to this 5-star psychiatric resort. That was what was happening. The team doctor sent me a link and I was like, rehab. What am I going to do in rehab? I'm not alcoholic. Well, I don't think I am. And I think entering rehab, it was brutal. But yeah, I was supposed to spend 21 days. I ended up doing 2 months. So yeah, I realized right off the bat there, I was like, okay, cool. I'm the problem, no one else. So let me sort of, now that I've got this opportunity, let me sort it out. So yeah.
Do you have the support you needed then from, say, Cricket South Africa, that you felt once you're able to talk about it or have that little nudge that the support was there to get you where you needed to be?
I think after that intervention with the management, the team doctor was like to me, I'll call you back in 3 hours because I think I know what's going on. And I mean, she knew a long time. It's just in my head. She only figured it out then. And I remember she sent me the link, obviously, but then she was like, we're giving you 2 months medical leave. And then now connecting the dots, I'm like, but I have a World Cup, I have this. But in actual retrospect, I didn't have those things because I was so far gone. So for me to actually think that I could get to a World Cup, for me, realistically, I was like, nah, I'm not going to make it. And I remember when I said to Doc, but Doc, I'm only coming out in December. World Cup is in Feb. How am I going to be fit enough? And, you know, I was like, cool. My medical aid covered 21 days. So I was like, I'll do the 21 days. But Cricket South Africa gave me 2 months medical leave. And, you know, the support from them was probably one that I never expected because I was like, yo, I've screwed it up bad. That's what I was thinking. I was like, there's no chance they're going to give me another chance. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. So I walked in there saying, okay, cool, to revive my career, I'm going to take 21 days, come out. But after 4 days, I was like, I've already lost the career. So let's just do what I have to do so I can actually live a longer life afterwards. So in my mind, I didn't have cricket. I was just thinking to save my life because there's more to life than just cricket. So that's what was my mentality. And then when I came out of treatment, they're like, okay, cool, you have a job. I was like, huh? Yeah, that was the reaction because I was radio silent the whole time. They took my phone, they took everything. So the only time I could communicate to Doc was every Thursday for 5 minutes to just say, okay, cool, Doc, I'm doing okay. That's it. And then on Sundays was to my family. Yeah.
What was rehab like, if you're able to put it into words, I suppose?
I probably had the best housemates. It was a couple of us, and you know, they gave me the love that I needed, not the one that I wanted. Very cutthroat, very honest. I kind of learned that earlier on in rehab. I was very selfish and self-centered, and I kind of had to accept that because I'm here now. I'm not there with my teammates at a national camp, so that was out of my own doing. So I couldn't point fingers to anyone. And the only way was to be like, okay, cool, I've messed that up. How can I'll now live a longer life and a longer lifespan? That was literally all that was in my mind. It was like, if I have cricket, cool. If I don't have cricket, cool. Because at the end of the day, it's not up to me. You know, with God's timing is everything, and He had my back.
You've said the words a couple of times that the rehab was about saving your life. Is that something that's talked about in rehab, or actually how low did you get? Did you ever get sort of that low that actually you felt that your own life was at risk?
After the Commonwealth Games, I think that's when it literally intensified. As soon as I got back home, I was like, I think I was in such a bad sense. Like I couldn't figure it out. Like I was in such a bad place that I really didn't care. I even said in my 1 year share last week, I was actually drinking to die at that point because I felt like I had nothing to give.
And this was because of online abuse that you were getting?
Not really. I don't know what it was because I think I was so far gone, and also my mind was also telling me that there's no way out of this. And then you go on social media, you read something like, oops, proves me right. It was always those things, and sometimes I always want to like just go online and like just answer them. But integrity wise, I don't think I can, because like sometimes I was like, what gives you the right? You don't know what I go through on a day to day, and typically for the same athlete, because I'm not the only one. They joke about it in the change room, and I'm like, it's really savage stuff that they say, and sometimes I really just want to know what gives you the confidence to actually talk about someone like that when you don't even know where they're from.
So now that you're sober, do you find it, I mean, presumably, you're still a high level athlete, you're still out there on that international stage with, with the ability of people to reach you on social media. Is it easier to deal with now that you're not drinking?
I do not deal with social media when I'm during tours. I have someone that runs it for me, because it won't stop.
Yeah. You have a strategy then?
Yeah. So I don't even log on. I only now that I log on, but the person that does it for me clears out everything before I actually log on. Which for me has helped me a lot, because I don't see it. So whether there's chatter around, I really don't entertain it, because at the end of the day, I'm solely focused on just my recovery. And I mean, recovery has been tough. There's been some bad days where you're like, but you're like, no.
Yeah, so it must be an ongoing process.
Yeah, there's something for me to actually pick up that drink. That's when I've had enough. Usually relapse ends by that first drink. So for me, it's just making sure I do all the right things every single day, taking it head on and be like, okay, cool, there's nothing I can do about it. It's done now. Yeah.
What made you want to talk about it openly? Is there a message that you would like others to perhaps learn from your experience, or advice that you would want to pass on?
Typically, like, I love following other athlete sports around the world. Specifically in America, like there was an NFL guy that actually went into treatment, and I was like, cool. And I remember just before I went into treatment, I was like literally on YouTube checking athletes that are in recovery. That's what I used to do. And to my blessing, I actually found a lot of them 2-3 years in recovery. I was like, okay, cool, I can do this. And after the World Cup, I spoke to our media manager, Lita. I was like, Lita, I can't keep quiet about it. Yes, my teammates know, but I feel like I've got more to give, because sometimes people think you going into treatment or you admitting that you have a problem is like the final straw. I'm kind of telling you, it's the beginning of your life. And I think that's how you should look at it. It's not the end. It's actually the beginning of something more beautiful.
That's a really beautiful way of phrasing it. What about you then? Now you are at the beginning of your new life now. What goals, aspirations are you setting yourself now going forwards?
I've basically simplified everything. Coach asked me, so I got injured the last game. I was like, coach, it's not in my plan. Whatever happens, happens. Taking it one day at a time, being patient. Yes, it's tough to be patient sometimes, but sometimes you won't understand why is it happening. But luckily, I've got the people in the fellowship that will check in, and I can call them at any time, and to have that level of support and the love that I feel each and every single day, for me, is something that I don't think that's the biggest blessing. Like just being in recovery and being surrounded by so much love is beautiful.
Was it quite emotional for you then when you were eventually in that World Cup final and you've got that runners-up medal, something tangible and something, that's a real high achieving point, when you thought about where you'd come from?
I think for me, it was that first game against Sri Lanka. I walked out there, I was like, this is quite cool. Whatever happens, happens. And I think that's how I've been taking it each and every single day. Like, what's the worst that can happen? I'm still alive. I'm still sober. And I mean, we get told like to take it one day at a time. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Because I don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself.
Sonalo, it's a real pleasure to talk to you, and thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm sure it's going to be a big help to all those that listen, and good luck for the start of your new chapter now. Thanks for being with us on Stumped.
Thank you so much for having me.
So that was South Africa wicketkeeper Sonalo Jafta. And if you've been affected by any of the issues raised in that interview, you can find organisations offering help and support on the BBC Action Line website. Just search bbc.co.uk/Action Line. Well, that's all we've got time for on this week's Stumped. My thanks to Sunil Gupta and to Jim Maxwell, and of course to all of you. See you next week. Bye-bye.